Hi everybody, Richard from Small Caliber Arms Review. If you'll remember a while back, I made this holster for the EMF Gambler Royale. It is a lined holster with card suit stamped all the way around it, red stitching on it. Now I need to make a belt for this thing, and I have not done it yet, but I went ahead and cut out my pattern and everything, did a lot of trial and error type fitting on it. Did it in paper first because it's a little expensive to screw up with the leather. And it's a big piece of leather too. It's 4.5 inches wide. Now the whole belt is not going to be 4.5 inches wide, just the part where the holster attaches to it, but I didn't want to sew that piece on there. I want the holster to hang down a little lower than what it would be on the regular belt. It is a Ranger style belt, so I've got a separate billet here for the buckle. And the little piece here that holds the buckle on there, there'll be a keeper underneath here. And hopefully it's going to turn out pretty nice. I'm going to line it with red suede. It's going to be a black belt with the red stitching in it and everything. And I'm going to do that same pattern I did all the way around the holster, all the way around the belt. And with the fancy red stitching, hopefully it'll be kind of a flashy belt for a gambler. Now I did go ahead and put 12 bullet loops on there because, I mean, he's a gambler. He's going to take a risk. Most of the time you're going to put 10 bullet loops on there, so you've got 2 loads worth of ammo there, 5 rounds each. It's the cowboy load, but this is a gambler, so he's going to risk it and put all 12 in there, or all 6 in the chamber, so he's got 2 loads with 12 on there. I got some little conchos I'm going to put on the bullet loop straps on the back of it there, and hopefully it'll turn out to be a pretty good looking holster. Let's start getting this thing cut apart and put together. Okay, there's my buckle, there's my billets and all that pieces, and I actually have the rivets in there to hold it together just so I can try it on and make sure it fits, make sure everything lines up. I'm going to put my bullet loops right in the center there, so I've got my center line marked there and there, and the concho is going to go on the end there with the bullet loops, and these are really a pain to sew on, but it's really worth it. I like them better sewn on than I do laced through. I think they look a little better. And with the conchos on the end there, and hopefully it comes out pretty good. Anyways, I'm going to get this big chunk of leather over here, get my pattern taken apart, and get it traced onto the leather and get it cut out. Now there's going to be a whole lot of stamping. A whole lot. Okay, now that everything is beveled, punched, stamped, and all that good stuff, it's time to get some dye on this thing. We're going to dye it coal black, and then we'll do a little bit of stitching. We'll get the bullet loops put on there first. That's the first thing that's got to be done. Then we'll get the billets on there because I want to get dye underneath there. I want to get this sewn to this, and then I want to get the back of it covered up so that the stitches don't show on the back side of it, again with the red suede on there. So got a little bit of work to do here, and I think I'm going to start with the billets here, the billets and the bullet loops and all that good stuff. Anyways, let's get some dye on this thing. All right, I've got a nice even coat of dye on there. I'm gonna let this thing dry. Hopefully it'll dry nice and even too, no streaks in it or anything. And then once that's done, then I'm gonna get to sewing the billets and the bullet loops on there. It's gonna be lots of fun. There's a lot of stitching to do on this thing. All right, I've got my thread on here. I've got my needles threaded up, and I'm starting to put the bullet loops on here. There's 12 bullet loops. I've got like a 5 to 6 ounce leather for the bullet loops, and I've kind of kinked it up a little bit there, kind of pre-shaped it so it makes it a little bit easier to put on there. These are tough. You got to fight with them to get them in there because the spacing on the belt is narrow and the spacing on the bullet loops is pretty wide, so you got to bunch them up so it forms the loops and you can put your cartridges in there. These fit in there pretty good. They'll probably loosen up a little bit over time, but I'm happy with it so far. Now I'm just going to keep on stitching, and this is really a pain, and there's really no good way to film this either, so I'm just going to get stitching, and then we'll show you some of the other parts. Okay, I got all my bullet loops sewn on there, and I got my 2 conchos on there, and you can see it causes it to curve some because it's stretching that leather out. So what I've done, or what I'm going to do, is wet these down just a little bit on the tops, in the sides there a little bit with a sponge. Get a little water on there that'll soften that leather up some more, because like I said, that I do not have any satin sheen or super sheen on it, so it will soak the water in there. Now I'm going to take and prop up the sides of it there, and then I'm going to use some of my 50 cal round balls there, set it right on the top, and that will gently push down on it and cause that leather to relax, and then everything will be good. It doesn't matter if it's got a little curve to it because it's going to go around your waist. It's going to have a curve to it anyways. But this is just to get a little closer to flat. And then once that dries, then we'll get to sewing the billets on the end there. Okay, I've got the other end sewed on there, and I've got my buckle on there finally. And I got 2 silver rivets right there. I need to put a 3rd one in there. Those 2 right there actually hold the buckle onto that billet, and this one helps hold this billet onto the belt. I'm going to put one over on this end too. Kind of gives it a little bling, I guess. Not too bad. It's still going to get a lot more bling when I do the whole outside of it. Next thing I got to do is I've got to get the back of this glued up and glued onto my piece of red suede, and then get it trimmed up and do a whole lot of hole punching and sewing again. All right, back at it. Okay, so far I've got 18 feet of thread going around this belt, and I've only got the top side of it done. Not even quite done yet. So it's going to take a little bit more for the bottom because I got to go down around the loop part there for the holster. So the best thing you can do is just pay out a lot of thread and kick back and listen to some of your favorite videos.
16-inch barrel on this.
That's what I'm doing.
Aluminum alloy frame on it, steel barrel on it. I believe this. Hi everyone, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and today we're going to be taking a look at a cowboy gun. This is the Chiappa 1873 Single Action Army. Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard. Today we're going to take a look at a practical firearm. No, we're not. We're going to take a look at Hi everybody, welcome back to Small Caliber Arms Review. I'm Richard, and today we've got another box from Heritage here. This is the Heritage bar key. It's one of their newest. If you could, hit this button up here to subscribe. Hit this button over here to check out some of my other videos. And thanks for stopping by the saloon and checking out the bar key.
Okay, I've got all the stitching done on this thing. There is probably about 36 or 38 feet of thread to go all the way around the belt there. I peeled off about 16 to 18 feet, somewhere around there on the top and then the bottom. So I did it in two pieces, and that's a lot of thread to fight on there. But I got my keeper on the front there. The suede is all sewn on the back. The keeper goes underneath. There's a Ranger style belt, so this goes underneath there, and then the belt goes through there. And hopefully it'll all fit now. I wish I would have made a keeper for the front part there, and I may still have to do that. It might be, yeah, I think I can get one underneath there, and so I got somewhere to tuck the point of that belt in there, because that's going to pop up like that a little bit, and that's not going to be cool. But anyways, I got to get the holster. I got to fight that thing through here. I've done a couple of these before on my cowboy action rig, so it is really tough to get that in there, especially since the holster is a double layer holster. Now it is thinner leather, but it's glued and stitched and all that good stuff. So I'm going to get that thing out here and get to wrestling with it. And there it went. Let's try this thing on. There it is. I like the way it hangs a little lower like that. It's pretty fancy schmancy. Alright guys, there it is. There is the belt for the EMF Gambler. I will make me a keeper to go on there. It just needs something to keep that from flopping around like that. But I got my bullets loaded in there. I got my little card suit conchos on both sides of the bullet loops. The red suede lining on it. It's a big old Ranger belt, 2.5 inches wide, 4.5 inches here where the holster attaches there. And I kind of like it. Not, I don't know, maybe not gaudy, but pretty good looking. I think so. Anyways, if you could, hit this button up here to check out some of my other videos. Hit this button right here to subscribe if you haven't already. And I got another holster to do here pretty soon too. This one.